All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We got a great episode today. Freedom Files, episode 15. Today's already November 1st of 2025. This episode's going to come out probably next week, so, we're getting into the holidays. We got great guests with us today. We got Justin Wall and Casey Cooper. These are law enforcement specialists assigned to help prevent human trafficking. I'm really excited about today's show. We're going to get into some formal introductions in a moment, but first, we got the show and tell gun. Today, I have chosen the iconic Ruger 1022. All right, this is an awesome little gun. These are some of the most produced and sold firearms on earth. There has been millions of these things made. This thing was first introduced by William B. Ruger and Harry Seyfried II in 1964. The one I'm holding is from 1978, I believe, 78, 77. These little guys came out and they just kind of changed the firearms world. Some of the features that they have is the rotary 10-round magazine, henceforth the 10, and then the 22 is because it shoots 22 long rifle. These are semi-automatic. They have the little magazine fed like I just talked about. Most of them you can get scopes and put on there. All right. I'm going to continue spouting off about my Ruger 1022 just for a little bit. This was designed actually, Mr. Ruger thought that it would be cool to make a lightweight, fun firearm for target environment that looked a lot like the M1 caliber carbine. So these guns, like I said, they've been sold since 1964, and they are some of the most produced rifles on earth, with millions being sold and enjoyed. And by the way, just to say, Christmas time is coming, so you might want to treat yourself to one of these, and I know a guy that might be able to get you one. Anyhow, all right, we'll put that down, and we'll get into our guest.
I got to say one thing, too, about
Yes.
that. I want to wish my buddy over there a happy birthday. His birthday was Halloween.
Oh,
Frederick.
boy. Thank you so much.
He is a demon baby.
Yep.
Happy birthday, Fred.
You guys all made my birthday awesome. Thank you so much. All right, let's get into some more formal introductions. We're going to go to my left, Mr. Justin Wall. Sergeant Justin Wall is a generational law enforcement official with experience in patrol, canine, special investigations, including but not limited to child exploitation, sexual assault, and human trafficking. With more than a decade of operating training and experience, he continues the fight against the darker side of humanity that most lucky citizens are unaware of. I also want to introduce Detective Casey Cooper right here to my left. He's served in law enforcement for over 19 years. He also is an expert in human exploitation and trafficking, and he is part of the HEAT, otherwise known as, Casey, what's it otherwise known as?
Human Exploitation and Trafficking.
Thank you so much.
I remember the E now this time.
Yeah,
now that I'm out of court.
exploitation and trafficking. Okay, he has hundreds of commercialized sex trafficking investigations and hundreds of child exploitation cases, archiving high rates of prosecutions at both state and federal levels. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Tell us about yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thank you for having us. Like you said, I think that was a cooler introduction than I think I could have ever written up about myself. But we work for the Sheriff's Office here in Stanislaus County. I'm the supervisor of our Special Victims Unit and human exploitation and trafficking task force, which is combined. Yeah, it's easy to say, right? It sounds cool. Which combines of detectives from our office as well as special agents from the Homeland Security Investigations Bureau, and then also our DA's office here in Stanislaus County. So pretty awesome. Probably one of the best assignments. I had the pleasure of being a detective in that assignment, and then also now coming back as a supervisor. So pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And Casey, how about you, man?
Been in the unit for, 4 years now, give or take, and I've been loving every minute of it. Started out as a detective in Patterson, and then kind of transitioned to the main office when I was voluntold to go. So landed here and been loving every minute of it.
Very cool, man. Yeah, and we'll get into a little bit more too of some of the details of your guys' expertise level, because I know Casey actually helped me out before in 2023 when I was on Oakdale City Council, and we had a nonprofit organization that was coming in that's up and down the state of California. It's been around since '96. And it kind of got legitimized in 2008 when legislation passed. And we'll get into a little bit more of that, but I went to Casey, and he really helped me out a lot with that. So, guys, tell us what got you into, Justin, let's start with you. What got you into law enforcement?
That's like a really hard question. It seems simple, but it's because it's not a real super desirable job sometimes. But I grew up around it. I was fortunate enough. My father was a deputy sheriff for our office for a really long time.
Cheers.
Yeah, had an amazing career. Kind of coincidentally, he was the very first canine handler for our office, and I was the 40th canine handler for our office. And then he kind of ended his career working in child exploitation. That was in the wave of MySpace and kind of like the
He
beginning.
became one of the top tech guys in there.
Yeah. He worked with another detective, and they did almost the same thing, right? For their generation, they were doing these online exploitation, child abuse, harmful child material cases, and we're doing the exact same thing. They're prosecuting these cases both at the local level and federally, catching bad guys all over the country and even the world. So it's kind of cool now obviously it's the game has changed slightly, but kind of cool to be doing that. And then my mom on the other side of it, like I said, grew up in this. My mom was a dispatcher, so.
I did not know that.
Yeah. She worked.
I know, but
yeah.
I did not know the mom.
Yeah, my mom started at Sirius PD when they were just a tiny little town and moved over. She was kind of helped with the implementation of the JPA that we have now in this county with the consolidated between the sheriff's office, Modesto Police Department, and then all the local fire agencies. So I guess it was kind of it was destined to be for me to get into law enforcement that way. And so I started my career with the sheriff's office. I was actually 20, went to the academy. As a very, very young kid, and just been fortunate enough to kind of make it through the ride. Like I said, 12 years in now, and still rocking.
12 already?
It goes by so fast, bud.
It does.
So fast.
So fast. Yeah.
Old.
I am, and that's what's sad is I'm one of the old guys now at the office, believe it or not. Not as old as Casey, but I'm one of the older guys.
I remember when you first started, you were walking in to turn in the application too.
Yeah.
I was having to work the front desk.
Oh yeah.
Casey, you got about 19 years, yeah?
Yes.
And what got you into LE?
A little bit different. So I'm first generation. I'm it. So I was working construction. I was a tile helper, setting some tile, and I remember a tile setter sitting across from me. And I asked him, well, what are you going to do after you retire? And he looked at me and said, retire? There ain't no such thing in this. And I was like, oh boy, okay, I got to figure something else out. So I put my application in because I saw they were hiring for a custodial deputy. And I threw my name in the hat and just started running with it ever since then. And then now I saw custodial stuff. I did that for a little while. And then I was like, I wonder what patrol's like. Threw my name in the hat for that, got called up, and now I'm sitting where I sit.
So you started in custody?
I love it.
Yeah, built tension for.
I guess I've heard like it helps. I've heard some people say it was harder. Then I've heard that it helps because you get you get to know kind of some of the people you're going to be dealing with.
It was a lot easier to talk to people, put it that way. Because when I was on my FTO going out to the street, we'd get there and the guy would say his name and I just look at him and be like, bro, really? I've dealt with you for how many? Sorry, Cooper.
And you already know.
And then I could call him right there on the spot on it. And it worked out.
You get to
really
learn
well.
about the tattoos. You learn all that.
Oh yeah, you learn all of the intricate details of them.
And you know what's crazy is you guys, you go through the years, you go through thousands of hours of training, you go through hundreds of cases, sometimes thousands of cases, and you get all this experience and everything else, and then you really understand what a lot of people don't know. So been in law enforcement myself. I know about the darker side of life, but there's a lot of stuff that these words that we're using now to define different things like human trafficking. A lot of the public doesn't know about that. The media is starting to use that now. Like, tell me, what is human trafficking?
You want that one, or you want me to jump on it?
Man, I get a little passionate when I start talking about that because human trafficking, what human trafficking actually is, and I think what we see on a more common basis, unfortunately, is not necessarily what the media or Hollywood would push out. Mm-hmm. We see, and what we experience, is commercialized sex trafficking. And that is where one person will procure another person for the purpose of commercialized sex work in exchange for money. So you have three pillars within this world. You have the exploiter, the worker, and then you have the buyer, the purchaser. Human trafficking, as they like to sell it in Hollywood or through the media, or these nonprofit. You talk about nonprofit organizations. We've ran into quite a few nonprofit for profit organizations in our time, and that's why we're here, right? Because we're actually passionate about this stuff and how it affects our community here. there is no doubt about it. There's human trafficking in this world where people are taken against their will and they're forced into either sex work or labor trafficking. We'll talk more a little bit later. It's one of our prompts that we have. But by and large, I would say 90 to 95% of what we see, what the average case, if you will, is more of a commercialized sex trafficking encounter. And it is, like I said, it's the trafficker. And don't get me wrong, there's force and coercion and fear behind it, but it's not the way that it's sold to the general public through the media, through Hollywood. And that's I can appreciate the awareness that's being spread about this issue, but I wish it was a little bit more accurate.
What do you think that Hollywood is doing? Like, what's the biggest inaccurate
what are they
message
getting wrong
that they're pushing?
Oh, I'm kind of everything.
Just I don't know, the way they fantasize about it. I guess it's not so much a mom walking, like especially here in our area. It's not going to be a mom and a kid walking through the mall's parking lot and a white van pulls up and then they're gone. You're not going to see that, at least here. A lot of our stuff's done online.
Yeah.
So a lot of our bad guys, when they're attempting to procure or obtain these girls or boys too for prostitution, they're doing it through the online platforms, Instagram,
Like
Snapchat.
luring them in.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. It's not necessarily a snatch and grab. Not to say that doesn't happen. We just haven't seen that here.
Not here.
So, yeah. To that degree, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think Casey coined this term and put it into an illustration for one of the other presentations that we did several years ago. And, this kind of scary image that's portrayed, right? This windowless, this panel van that pulls up and, this, free candy, hey, get inside kind of thing, right? We don't really see those cases, right? But what we do see is it starts at a very early age and it goes back to technology and the early introduction of technology being given to children. And that essentially, right, that is the key to your front door. You have just given every single bad guy on the internet the key to your home now.
Wow.
Because now you've just given your child this device that's not monitored, it's not regulated, and now they have the ability to have remote access to your child or children day or night.
And in essence, some of these apps even map out the inside of your house for these guys.
And I guarantee you there's a lot of parents that don't even think that.
So there's a lot of online predatory people that are preying, and they're getting these kids to do stuff online, but are they also interacting physically after that occurs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It starts online. I would say how many of our cases throughout the years have started online?
I'd say well over 98%.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Almost every single one of them, they start online, and then they will quickly turn into an in-person meetup, and then that's when the panelist van comes in, right, so to speak, right? But unfortunately, the grooming, the relationship, everything has already been done remotely through a phone, right, or through a computer, a tablet, whatever you have, and most of the time, it's too far gone, and we're reactive. We, as aggressive and proactive as we are in this issue, we are still continuously finding ourselves behind the eight ball and being reactive to these cases because the parents don't know about them until it's too late, until the kid's already missing, right? The kids, we just had a case not too long ago on kind of the west end of our county, and we found out about it while the 12-year-old was passing through the grapevine on her way to a city in Southern California with an adult male. That's when we found out, right? So when you talk about the time delay and behind the eight ball, that is quite literally what we are facing in most of these cases. By the time we realize, or by the time the parents realize what's happened, they report it to law enforcement, we get the initial information that we need, and even being aggressive with it, with an emergency ping, we're showing this 12-year-old girl, right, this 6th grade girl, is crossing through the grapevine with an adult male in a car. And
That's scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying, right? And
Happening, yeah.
that's happening. I mean, that's a real life example of a case that happened a month ago.
Yeah.
A month ago.
How about the solicitation for money, or the hold you hostage for money? So you get these women, or these AI women, or whatever they might be, and they get these young boys that are 12, 13 years old or something like that, and they say, hey, I'm going to send these to your grandpa or whatever if you and I'm only saying that because
Like the blackmail one.
there's the blackmail one.
Sextortion.
Right,
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff going on too, right? That's the sextortion and everything. There's just so many categories for this. It's got to be difficult to keep up with.
And so we do the best we can to try to keep up with it, but some stuff gets brought to us to the forefront, and we'll be we'll be all in on 2 or 3 applications that we know are consistently being worked. And then we get one brought to us that we didn't even know existed. And then now we got to play catch up on that one. And it's constantly, once we think we mastered one, 3 more took its place.
What would you say is the biggest challenge involving the trafficking prevention for you? Like, what's your biggest challenge as far as what you have to deal with on a regular basis? That's the most difficult thing.
Oh, I'm gonna jump off the bridge on that one.
Yeah, send it. Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for.
A lot of it's schools. The schools, just the walls that they put up in order to talk to the kids. The kids can see more on YouTube than I can physically go into the school site and show kids the dangers. And so kids will sit at home and actually see everything that's going on, but I have to do a filtered version of everything to try to show the kids the dangers.
As far as you giving an educational briefing at schools?
Correct.
Okay, so that's it.
And so that's one.
Hear that, schools? You guys need to open up a little bit more and let these people stop our kids from getting hurt.
Yeah. And then I'll even take it a step further, right? iPhone is actively working on updates that makes our jobs more difficult. Google, Yahoo, Xbox, PlayStation, all these different
end-to-end encryption.
Yeah, it's constant. We're constantly fighting. We'll get a phone. There's a new update. And Casey could probably speak to it better, but there's a new update in the iPhone that if it's the phone's powered off at any point, then we're stuck with as far as receiving a forensic extraction of that device, which will obviously give us evidence and help us prosecute this case. We're hosed because they're building these like protections into these phones, into these applications that will really back us into a corner, and
that are blocking you guys.
That are blocking us from being able to do what we need to do to find these predators.
Well, what is the biggest influence behind this trafficking? Like, what's the biggest thing that's causing this kind of thing?
Money.
Yeah, money.
So they're just making money off these kids and these other people. And I mean, how are they monetizing this? I mean, the victimization part, they're some weirdo with a fetish or whatever, that's wanting to do this. But now you get the kid or the person or whatever, the victim. How do you monetize? How do they monetize off of it?
How do the bad guys monetize?
Yeah,
off of
are
them?
they like selling it for pornography or something? Or?
Yeah, so a lot of a lot of the things I do is the online versions of this, and what they're doing is they'll literally reach in and get the kids to make their own child sexual abuse material, and then they'll turn around and sell it on the dark web. And then I had a case where a little kid out of Hilmar, she's an adult now, but she was horribly victimized. That case led me to about 45 other victims spread out through California, Florida, Arizona, New York. And then in doing so, we ended up catching the bad guy. But that one bad guy affected over 40 kids by one person, and then was selling all that stuff to India.
India's buying it?
To India. Well, a person in India, I should say it that way.
So think about this, right? So think about the narcotics trafficking trade, because that's, I think, what we compare ourselves to most commonly, and it's the best way to explain it. In the narcotics trafficking trade, somebody will make a product. That product will then get moved and broken down and stepped on, and it'll go to all these different distributors, and they'll sell it, and it's a one-time thing, and they sell it, right? They get whatever their allotment is, and then they sell it to their buyers, and then it's done and it's gone. And now we have to go back and repeat the process, right? There's multiple people involved in that chain. With the human exploitation, I can sell the same product 15, 20, 30 times a day, day after day. I can sell it to you here in the West Coast time zone at this time, and I can sell it to the East Coast time zone, and I can sell it. And it's a non-stop production of that exact same product, right? Unlike the narcotics side, once I sell it one time, it's done, it's gone. I now have to go back through the entire manufacturing process.
Wow.
This has value.
It just
infinity.
Definitely, in perpetuity. It just keeps coming. So, okay, let's go back to the India thing real fast. So some perv in India reaches out to an American and says, hey man, get this for me. And that gives the motivation to this guy to go and get that for whoever.
He was already motivated to go get it because that's how sick and twisted he was. But he was making profit off of it while doing so.
Can I just say this to see if there's any satisfaction to this? Was there like a good conviction where the guy got a lot of years and stuff?
Or something better than
He got 45 years.
Okay.
So when we were looking internally to do it locally, he was looking at approximately 7 years. But we were able to take it federally. And that was my first federal case I ever presented, and he ended up taking 45.
How long did you say for state?
About 7.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
7, and then
exactly, yeah.
and then break that in half, and then break good credits,
Yes.
and then break on the rehabilitation, and then add in.
He's got like 3 months probation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
we actually
He's
owe
got
him
a
time.
monitor.
Yeah, we owe him time at the end of it.
Yeah.
I swear to God, this state is so fucked.
And so, but by taking it federally, we're able to sink our teeth into it a little bit more.
When those guys get prosecuted and they have to actually pay the piper by going into a prison system, especially federally, do they put them directly into protective custody, or are they?
I should put them in general pop.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, is because I know that there's hard hitters. Like there's heavy, hard criminals that cannot stand the whole child thing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's that part in the form where it says that, so that way no one at intake says that word.
They call them chimos or whatever.
Yeah, Chomo.
Well, I mean, like when you're
Chomos,
doing the
yeah.
intake, you
Yeah.
put it to the intake officer. They make sure that word is not said out loud around the other people in intake.
No, it's an automatic green light. In general, automatic green light.
Yes.
As much as I have issues with gang members and murderers and all that, that is one thing that I do think they do actually get right.
They all have kids.
Yeah, they all have kids. And they have an automatic green light. Anyone that
Everybody's not everybody, but yeah, even bangers are dads too.
yeah.
This
So,
is
but they're protected, Fred. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say. Unfortunately.
This is such a good talking point, man, because a lot of public, like I've spoken with a lot of family members, like my time in LE and some of the stories that I've had, and then you know speak about some of these things because you got to vent to somebody, right? And the people that aren't in LE are just most of the general public, and we're so blessed, man. Like I'm so lucky to be in the family and the friends and the community and everything I'm in. And most people that aren't directly related to the LE, they don't even know that this is going on.
No.
You know, they see it, they hear it on the news every now and then, like, hey, a brief little description, and
But
this
it doesn't
person was
click.
found or whatever.
It doesn't click.
But we're in a bubble, and it's a good bubble to be in. It's a great bubble. And then outside of that bubble, you've got these horrible, ridiculous things going on. And, the person you got or whatever, there's a bunch of those people out there that are victimizing individuals, and you don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. They could be your coworker or something,
So, and I think that's what's scary. We are in a bubble. We are very fortunate. We live in, a very good area, and we work in a good area. However, I will say this is one of the crimes that it knows no economic status. It knows no social status. It doesn't care if you live in Del Rio or East Oakdale or deep Southside Modesto or wherever you're from. We have had victims, and again, going back to the cell phones, the technology being introduced in the home at an early age, we've had very, families who thought they were insulated from these bad things all of a sudden find themselves dealing with that because one online friend gets a photo and exploitation starts to happen, or, physical sexual abuse occurs. Every single commercialized sex worker that I've ever spoken to in my career has disclosed to me that she was a victim of sexual abuse as a child.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Have you found one that hasn't said that?
Not yet.
Okay. So they're at some point in their lives, they're abused early, right? Whether it be through online sextortion, whether it be through physical sexual abuse from a family member or a trusted friend. You talk about, right? Relative, somebody from the church, somebody from a sporting, team,
or physical,
whatever. Yeah. And so here we are, we think we're in this protected, this safe bubble. And I think that is what is so important to Casey and I and our team is real education and trying to get out in front of it and prevent it. And by doing things like this podcast is to say,
so hard too.
It is. And we can only reach the people that want to be, that want to hear it. But,
and a lot of people don't.
They don't.
Because it's a horrible fucking thing.
It's terrifying, and it's stuff that nightmares are made of. But they will stick their head in the sand and just be like, "No, it's okay. I live in this great community. My kids go to this great school. They have good teachers. They have good staff, and all of these different things. And you can do everything right. Unfortunately, this is one of those crimes. You can do everything right, and you can still find yourself very much so in the thick of it without even realizing it's happening behind your own walls. So, within the four walls of your own home, it's happening to someone that you love and care about.
I'll tell you this, man. I'm so thankful you guys are doing the job you're doing. You're doing God's work. You hear that a lot through LE, and it really is, because if you didn't have someone, talk to me about dealing guns and everything else, and I talk a lot of smack on government and the DOJ and the regulations that they push down on common citizens and everything. But I think for the most part, all of my customers and the people that I'm with, they're like solid individuals. You know, they're like, man, that government's just picking on me, getting more taxes and everything else. What you guys are doing are the port that makes me think, hey, I'll pay more taxes for that. You want to take more taxes out of my check, man?
Yeah.
This is where I want it to go. Because you don't even know about these individuals. And look, we've all known a few people that we thought, there's no way that's him. There's no way that happened, you know. Well, it is. And it has to be processed somehow. Somebody has to stop it. Somebody has to prevent it. Somebody has to clean that up. So we're really thankful for you guys.
A lot of
getting in
times it's the
position that you're
least
doing
person
that.
that you suspect.
Yeah, that can happen, you know. What do you think what would you like to see happen more often? Because you guys are on the front lines, you're seeing it all the time, you're experienced with it, you know, you're having to deal with this. What would you like to see the general public participate in or do or take action on more regularly to help you with your job?
Can you say that?
That's tough.
Good.
We can try. Casey, I'll let you lead it because I think we do a lot of public education and awareness. I mean, how many times have you presented this year alone?
Oh, I have well over 30.
Yeah.
So I go to schools and I talk to kids, staff, and parents. We try to balance it all out when we're talking to them. The parents that show up are the ones that are involved in their kids' lives. Yeah. It's the ones that don't show up that we need to reach out to.
What's the lowest grades that you go to?
The lowest I try to teach is 5th. That's just because
Can you imagine being a fucking 5th grader and having to hear that?
But with that being said, we've had the youngest victim I've had for this type of crime was 5th grade.
Jeez.
And so that's why at first we were doing 7th grade, 7th, 8th grade. And then boom, now we had a 5th grader that had access to a phone that was unvetted. So now we had to jump into that. And some parents show up, either they're told, am I allowed to say school names on this?
Go for it, man.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Do that.
Okay.
Say whatever.
All right. So Blaker Kinzer and Ceres, their principal is very adamant, and if they have a cell phone policy, and if a child gets in trouble with the cell phone at that school, they sign a form. Parents have to come in and sign a form, and then they have to attend a class once a year that I put on. And so he's very adamant, and these are the parents that need to be reached out to because they're the ones that have no idea what's going on. And every time I present in that setting for that group, opens their eyes, and then I have 50 questions at the end of each of my things because they had no idea any of this was going on. And that's how he makes them do it. And that's how their principal does.
So yeah, wasn't there just recently a middle school in this area?
Yeah, that was our case.
Yeah. That was,
Yeah.
Okay, well, we won't ask you.
Yeah, it's no. I mean, there's obviously some information out there. Obviously, we've done an initial release on it. Yeah, no, 100%. That was a teacher at a middle school in our county.
Just happened.
This just happened, and we're finding with that, we're finding victims. He's been an educator for nearly 20 years, and we're having victims come forward and disclose abuse that occurred years and years
I read
ago.
about this.
Yeah, just
yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy too, man? It's like I think about like when I was growing up, and I'm thankful for my mom and dad being who they were. And you know, I might have thought that they were harsh on me sometimes. I think a lot of people growing up in the 70s and 80s did think that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But guess what? We didn't have this. No. You know what I mean? This is like the danger zone.
You have the leash, the actual leash.
Yeah, you actually have, and I'm very thankful to, my parents were, my mom would be like, hey, go out and play and everything, come back later and stuff, go get in trouble with my friends and everything, go have some fun, drinking out of the hose, all that fun stuff that we talk about, that the kids today, I mean, in some areas they might still have that, but most of them, are getting these kind of things as young as 8 and 9 years old. Yeah. And if they don't have that, they've got some type of a tablet or a laptop, which you think would better their education and improve their intellect. But there's also that bad, dark thing, man, that is out there. And
the schools are issuing Chromebooks now on top of that.
Yeah, they are.
For these kids to take home. And at the school site, these things are filtered 100%. They're filtered with whatever programs the schools run. But when these kids take them home and connect them to their Wi-Fi, there ain't no filter unless the parents
got it. Then they've got it, and they're curious, and they want to see all the fun stuff and everything. And it's not about trying to sneak into the backyard with, Uncle so and so's Playboy or something anymore. Now it's like you've got all this crazy crap, and yeah,
It's so hard.
It is. It's a challenge. I mean, I'm here locally, and I have twin 7-year-olds, and even at their age, even younger, right? When they
I
start,
can't believe your twins are already 7.
I know, it's crazy.
7.
I know, it's
7 years.
That went fast.
yeah, I did, and they're awesome kids. I gotta say that. But and they have an awesome core group of friends and core group of family that we center ourselves around, and we're, again, as parents, right? My wife and I we're doing everything that we can to try to prevent this stuff.
You know,
But
not
even
to get too comical, but can you imagine in the Walls house, bro, like with what he's having to deal with and everything on the reg, like he's like, I'm sorry, lock him up.
Yeah.
We'll unlock him when they're 25.
Internet
It's
off.
cool.
yeah,
I mean,
100%,
everything's
turn it off. Yeah.
Yeah, internet off.
Yeah.
Like,
No, but this stuff happens. Even at, my daughter comes home and she's like, "Oh, there's this new these K-pop demon hunters or whatever," right? And it's like,
oh god.
and immediately, right? My wife, she's more in tune with it even than I am. She's like, "Nope, hard no, timeout, pause, wait a minute," and they're asking for
Demon hunters,
yeah,
yes.
but they're asking for Roblox, they're asking for Minecraft because they go to school and it's being talked about at school and there's other kids and
That's the social thing. That's
It
what
is.
everyone
Yeah.
else is doing, man.
Well, that's
You have to
how
keep
they
up somehow.
play.
Yeah.
They don't play at school.
Yeah.
And they don't play after school. They play online.
yeah,
There
exactly.
is no more
Yeah.
socialization except online.
Right. And I think we've created, to some degree, we've almost overcreated this boogeyman, this, like in-person stranger danger, right? Like the old school, like even I wasn't quite, 70s, 80s, a little bit before me, but 90s, I'll give you early 90s. I'll give you early 90s. And I will say even then it was come home when the streetlights come on.
There you go.
And it was outside and it's playing and go ride your bikes and you interact with your friends.
Don't come in until the street light comes on.
Yeah, come in, wash your hands, and eat dinner, and then go to bed, right? Do your homework, go to bed. But so that even now we've faded off from that because there was this huge push for so long, right? The boogeyman, the panelist van is out there, and what we've done is we've so hyper focused on that now for several generations that we've completely missed.
You've given them the boogeyman and the panel van right
Like we say,
in
Well,
their hand.
yeah.
The key to
They're
your front
holding
door.
it. They're putting it
I
in
think,
their pocket.
I mean, it was going away before, but I think that the lockdown too also drastically
Yes.
put it in hyper gear where
Absolutely.
everybody's
So-
inside now. They're used to standing.
Yep.
We're
'Cause
going over a lot of stuff about adolescence, man, which I think is extremely important because preventing that, is going to cause healthy adults. But there's a lot of adults that are victimized as well, right? And
Well, that's what we were just talking about earlier too. Yeah.
I really want to get into this trafficking thing. I want to talk about the Camtech thing a little bit. You know?
Oh.
Yeah. I want to dive into that. As a matter of fact, I'm going over the top of that bad boy.
Oh.
There you go.
I'm going
Backwards
over
hands?
the top.
We were getting into it.
For the Camtech thing. So here's the deal. I never knew about what Camtech was, and I have to read this stuff, man, to make sure that I am saying it right. But it's the California Association of Massage Therapists. It's in here.
Probably took.
It was, and everyone's going like, well, what does that have to do with human trafficking or anything? Like, who cares, Well, Casey, what's the guy's name that helped with that again in Fresno?
Officer David Freeze.
Okay, that guy's bitching, man. He's awesome. And if David Freeze ever sees this show, man,
badass
shout out to him, dude. He's awesome. So we'll get into how I met him. But I'm on city council in 2023. The city proposes at an agenda meeting that the city staff wants to adopt CAMTech, which is the California Association of Massage Technicians or whatever, and they want to bring that into the city. And I'm like, well, what is that? I don't even know what that is. So I have to read up on it. I find out, okay, it was established in like 96, and then in 2008 they got some Senate bill, some legislation that gave them kind of a loose authority to take over the ordinance of massage places in cities and in places in California. And law enforcement was kind of hit with a brick wall. So they're like, yeah, we're stopping prostitution. We know what that is. We have PC codes for prostitution and sex crimes. We know what that is. And then the mafia or whoever, brings it into a massage place and they start doing sex stuff in the massage place. And Ellie is like, okay, what do we do? Because that's a massage place. They're just giving massages. And that's how they hide it. And they would just close them down and open it up, whatever. So I'm thinking, why do we need CAMTech? This is Oakdale. We don't have these places. Guess what, Oakdale? You have them. They're out there.
Massaging other things.
Yeah, they've got these little rub and tug places or whatever they are, and they're scattered all over Oakdale. And I did my diligence, and I looked into it. And the Ellie dude from Fresno, I talked to Casey because I didn't know anything. I saw him upstairs, and I'm like, hey, man, this is what I'm dealing with. I don't even know what to do. Of course, he's in this industry. He knows what's going on. So he says, hey, call this guy. He's the man. reach out to him because I think he had something to do with starting Camtech and everything. And he did. And I reached out to him and he said, look, Camtech started off as something that I believed in and I thought that would prevent and stop this kind of thing from happening. But now it's a money train. And if you can get your city ordinance and your city law enforcement to address these massage houses or these unethical places without having to adopt Camtech, we got outvoted. It was me and another council, that were against the others that wanted it really bad, and we got outvoted. And now we've got it as a trial, and we tried it out. And before Jerry got Jerry's our chief of police, or our former, now he's our city manager. Before he got the city manager, right before I got off council in November of 24, we had 1 year of a trial to see if it would work and we could get rid of these places and get rid of this trafficking or this sex stuff in Oakdale. And Jerry made the comment and said, hey man, we're still having some problems. And he said that as the chief of police. So I know he was frustrated with that. We still have Camtech here. We still do. Guess what? You can drive by all of these places. They're still there. All right. We had preachers and community leaders that were showing up to these meetings saying, hey, I'm having to deal with counseling and divorces and stuff like that are going to these places right here in our town. Again, we're in the bubble. I was in the bubble. Okay. So I kind of want to get into that and educate the people on the human trafficking, because that's the words that were used to bring to the little city of Oakdale that we needed to do something to adopt this Camtech thing. What say you guys about Camtech, and what say you about the relationship with human trafficking and sex?
Can I just say, have you ever seen a Camtech employee in the city of Oakdale?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. Never even met one in our council meeting, man. They never even came to the council meeting or anything.
That is exactly what they're doing.
Started it without.
It's a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, exactly. There's names on paper.
Yep.
So it's just a money transfer kind of thing.
Exactly.
It's a nonprofit for profit.
To give you an idea,
Wow.
let me find it. It's a nonprofit organization. And the
Shady. Making
CEO
money on it.
makes over $700,000 a year.
The CEO does?
Yeah, the CEO of Camtech. His name is Amos Netanel, and he makes over $700,000 a year.
God dang.
Now, I get nonprofits get to pay a salary, okay? But you have to understand how many of these places, if Oakdale, which population of 24,000, something like that, has some, 8 or 9 of these, massage houses. Some of them may be legit, but we have found a few to be not legit, and that's why that was brought to city on this. If they've got that, well, what does LA have? What does San Francisco have? What does Sacramento have? What do these larger cities have? I just talked with Travis at Series, and he was like, dude, we just got done going through them. Like, all of our places pretty much are under the same thing, and yeah, they're all bad. And, so Series has them. Modesto's filled with them. By the way, when I was doing my diligence, there was only one dude that knew what Camtech was, and it was the sergeant of the sex crime unit in Sacramento. Everybody else I called, man, in our area had no idea what it was, okay, in law enforcement, So obviously they're not a very well-known organization as far as law enforcement goes, because they can detect and they can get a complaint, and then they're supposed to call LE and say, hey, there's weird stuff going on. You guys need to go do something about it. And they're not doing that. They're taking fees and fines and money. It is a multi-million, I don't know if it's in the B's or not, but it's a multi-million dollar company that's paying its CEO over $700,000. And like Casey says, they're not doing it.
So all they do is, someone wants to make a complaint, they would call them and make a complaint to them, and then they would call LE?
Dude, this is how
about
I thought of
calling
it
LE
after it got voted into Oakdale, and I honestly thought it was a way of defunding the police. I did.
The way it started out when David was on it, they were supposed to report stuff that occurred, and they were supposed to keep track of all the therapists, legit therapists that went to school, that got their certification, and they were supposed to keep track of them. And every time they went from one location to another, that certificate was supposed to follow them, and Camtech was supposed to keep track of that.
Huh.
Just in the work we've done, when's the last time you saw a certificate on the wall that was legit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still on the wall, but not legit. Yeah.
A middleman with a database.
Yeah, they create, I think, their idea behind it, and I think it initially had good intentions.
Correct.
It had a right idea, and it just
Wasn't implemented.
it wasn't implemented properly. And then they saw, I think, my opinion,
Cha-ching.
they saw some money behind it, and now and it's kind of silly. I know Fred and I spoke about it too when this kind of all first came up, and it was when we were right in the middle of investigating some of these back in 23, and we were talking about, I remember one of the conversations, you're like, man, it's going to cost us, X amount of dollars and all this stuff. And I said, that's crazy because you already pay for police officers and you already pay for police officers and code enforcement.
Correct.
In the city.
Right.
So they just have them do it, right? Have them regulate it. And I even offered at the time, I said, the sheriff's office will gladly come into the city of Oakdale and help, right? We were...
Well, you had the grant. Remember the grant?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And
everybody else used it.
Yeah. And we were neck deep in several of these.
Ceres, Turlock?
Yeah, Ceres, Turlock, Modesto. We in 23, just to give some context, or where Casey and I kind of come from this with the massage parlor stuff. So there's websites, just like there's websites with the commercialized sex trafficking. There's websites on there you can pay a monthly subscription fee to, or I think you get a discount if you pay for the entire year up front, right?
Let me touch on that real fast too, man, because again, in my bubble, I had no idea. I'm talking to Casey and he's like, have you checked this thing? And I'm like, what? So he takes me back to the detective area where he's showing me the website where these guys can just go on and find these rub and tug. I call them rub and tug places, but they're like full sex. Like they have full sex.
They're a brothel.
Oh, they're full sex now? Oh, yeah. I thought it was just the massage.
No.
You can actually, that's what's kind of comical. And one of the things that we did with it, when we were going in and we were proactively investigating these, and we were going in undercover, posing as again one of the pillars of this world, of this subculture, completely eliminating the massage component out of it. Right? I went into multiple of these places and I said, hey, posing as a customer, I said, I don't even want a massage. I'm not here for that. I'm here for X, Y, Z. And they would say, okay, hand over your money.
Wow.
I'm like, no massage needed.
No hiding.
Yeah.
And pick.
And then pick. Oh yeah, because now
What, pick the woman?
Yeah, you have them line up for you.
So is it like that Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker
And
movie
just so
where
we're clear,
yeah.
I want that one, I want that one. And
so just so we're clear, that is happening in our community, right?
There's over 80 of these illicit massage parlors in Stanislaus County. Practicing business more now.
It's closer to 200.
There you go. Closer to 100 now. And you talked about Modesto being just completely saturated with them. You cannot drive down the McHenry corridor and throw a rock and not hit one.
On McHenry.
On McHenry.
No shit.
In plain view.
Dude.
Right next to, there's three at one major intersection in the city of Modesto that is directly next to a car lot, a high volume gas station, a large automotive supply store that's nationwide, right there in the middle of business, right down the strip of Modesto.
We're not naming the names on purpose or what?
Well, so, I'm not trying to give anyone any ideas to go check
We're not
these out.
telling them where to go.
Yeah, please don't go
kidding.
proactively
Yeah,
investigate these on your own. Let us do that. But they're right there in plain view of you. And that's where going back
And
to
these places that are right there in plain view, are they also members of the Camtech? Are they affiliated with Camtech?
that I don't know.
So like when we in 2023, when we were going through doing the undercover work on these, we hit a handful of them, and I'll say two of them weren't even listed as that business within that city. They were a whole nother business altogether, but they were doing servicing jobs.
Is it a lack of code enforcement? Is it a lack of how are we?
Well, how could
I'm still
how come
befounding
their
on
shit
this.
can't get pulled and say bye?
That's what I mean. So my thing was,
I'll let you do that one.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, please
that one
educate me on
well.
this.
Monies. They have to pay the cities and the counties monies.
So basically,
They're a licensed business.
There's a staff member in the city somewhere, in wherever it is, that is turning their head and they're like, as long as they pay us,
we're getting money from them.
because we're getting money.
We're getting the money. Yeah,
Well,
they're getting the money.
Sometimes not even fine. We can close the place down, and then they just open it up in another family member's name.
My God.
That's not.
In 23, when we did the follow-up council meeting, we had one of the owners of 2 or 3 of them in Oakdale, and he owns a couple in Modesto too. And he shows up, and he's like, hey, you guys shouldn't be trying to close these things at 9 p.m. I've got truck drivers and other customers that need a massage after 10 or 11, and, that's their job. And we're all looking at each other like, who's getting a rub down at midnight? And then he says, and, it's a little racist, to be honest with you, that you're kind of discriminating on Asians. We didn't mention anything about Asians. And he goes, I just got back from Shanghai, China, and I got a couple girls for work, and they are very, very eager for American paychecks. And I'm like, wow, what are you going to Shanghai, China for to bring people back to Oakdale, So this is what I mean, is it literally is in it's right in front of everyone's face. And this is the bubble I'm talking about, unless, if you're listening to this show and you're one of those dudes that are sneaking off at night or something like that doing it, like most people don't even know they're there. I thought for sure, little Mayberry, Oakdale, no way. And it is. It's all over the place, So, yeah, I mean,
If it has a neon light,
Yeah. And
they do, man.
If you drive down any main street, you pass a hotel, you drive down the freeway, I promise you are coming in very close quarters with commercialized sex trafficking or human trafficking on a day-to-day basis.
And are they
that
getting
is in this county?
Are these businesses, like, who's the driver behind this? Is this organized crime that's doing this?
a lot. So what I can reflect
Like
back to
cartel?
our 2023. It was everything was going back to China. When they were following the money, the LLCs, it was all going back to China.
CCP or Triad?
So is it
So
that-
it's so challenging because they convert. So these are cash businesses. I invest the one that I investigated. Case is still actively open, so I can't give like exact location stuff. But the one parlor that I was a case agent for, my location, I had probably with our team at the time, I had over 1,000 man hours into it easily. And rough math based off of what we learned through multiple, times going into the parlor, posing as a customer, trying to figure out, get the layout and see what's going on. There's new girls coming in every week. You had your choice of anywhere from 6 to 8 girls. If you didn't like any of the girls, the manager, they call her the mama-san, she would say, don't worry, come back next week. I'll get you more.
See, we used to call the mama saw the chick that would cut our hair in Okinawa.
Well, really? Is
Mama
that
saws me
like
cut your hair. Yeah.
pimp kind of thing, basically? I mean,
she's the brothel leader.
the leader.
Yeah.
The mom, the boss. Yeah.
Yeah, so she kind of keeps the house in order.
Are these
the easiest way to
girls?
put it.
Are they documented? Are they illegal? Are they just brought in by a boat or something? Or are they?
It varies. It varies. In 23, when we were doing it at that time, it was very easy to come into this country and not be a citizen. So everyone knows where that was at that time, and that's that. But
that's a good one, man. Have you seen since the new administration? Have you seen a decrease?
Yeah,
in that
drop
kind of
in
thing?
this- that's-
like a drop in that kind of.
no.
No.
And that is not because
it's
of
California.
It's California, and it is also the
shuffling.
the shuffle game that occurs with these. Like I said, you're talking anywhere from 80 to 100. Those are just rough numbers. I mean, like he says, probably more than that.
Yeah.
Just in this county alone.
This county, man. And this is not a. It's like what 680, almost 700,000 people in this county. It's not that big, man. Can you imagine like the big counties and
It's the
huge
county
metropolises?
and the state. That's the issue.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things with us specifically, why we are so prominent for just this subculture in general, is where we are centrally located. We are a feeder to Sacramento, to the Bay Area, and to Southern California. We see this circuit, whether it's in massage parlors, whether it's with your traditional pimp and hoe game, if you want to call it that. We are on a major supply chain, Highway 99, for this. So it makes it very easy. We participate in a statewide operation every year, and every year, little old Modesto, Stanislaus County, with a small team of detectives, continuously ranks in the top 2 or 3 for the most arrests and victims recovered every year. And that's going up against agencies like the Los Angeles Police Department,
San Diego.
San Diego, Riverside County Sheriff's Office, right? We're going up against these massive metropolitan.
This whole area is always a top at something.
It is. And
Was it auto theft capital of the world at one time?
Yeah, we're pretty good at that kind of stuff. And so
It's a shithole.
Well, I remember when the 4-beat was mine, back in the day, and like 9th Street and 7th Street in Modesto were the primary areas. And basically, you're just trying to find the underage ones because there were so many that were walking the streets. And then COVID happened, and, I'm off patrol, and I worked overtime here and there. I didn't really see it too much anymore, as far as like, the windows opening and the shades and the lights and stuff that are in
during
those
COVID?
hotels
Like
and everything.
Or
After it, I think it kind of slowed it down. I mean, I haven't done it for a long time, so maybe it's all back.
Well, so what I think, COVID obviously played a role in a lot of the different things, and people became more innovative with how they made their illegal funds. But one of the things that happened was the birth and growth of the online ads. Now I can jump on right now as we sit here. And we've done this in live presentations before where Casey's been speaking and I'm sitting off on the side. I'll jump on a website and order a sex worker to come to me, like DoorDash. like it is. So this online world now where these guys are able to, these I should say guys, where
But most of it's
this
guys, right?
subculture,
Most
well,
of
yeah,
it's guys.
where
Most
this
of
subculture,
it's guys,
yes.
man. I mean, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
it is.
You know what I mean? Are you getting a lot of women that are doing that? Because I would think that the women, even if they were horny or something,
there's
they're worried
gotta
about
be
being
some.
victimized by some
Yeah.
fucking dude.
So if you're talking like pimp wise or exploiter, well, I have arrested females that I've
Or renter.
Yeah.
and so I've arrested females for.
But most of
doing
them
that.
is men, right? That are trying to get.
Yes.
The trafficker. Yeah.
Okay.
The trafficker's a man, but what you will also see in this subculture is there's a term, I'll leave out the derogatory portion of it, but there's a term called a bottom. And the bottom, she is, right, if Casey is the trafficker and I'm the bottom, Casey controls everything. He runs everything. He makes all the money. He kind of puts me in charge and to use like a military rank structure. He's a lieutenant. I'm the sergeant. And then we'll have other sex workers that work underneath our control, and they're the officers or deputies. And how this works, I now go out as a representative of Casey, and I will try to get other sex workers that are out in these areas, these geographical locations where sex work is occurring. I could then go out as a representative of him and say, hey, you should come work over here on our team because we have it really good. We have a nice car. I wear nice clothes. My hair is done. My nails are done, right? Everything is really good in my life. So the procurement of another person is occurring in multiple layers. And it's convincing when you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old girl and you see a 21 or 22-year-old female.
You're impressionable.
Yeah, she has nice makeup, she has nice clothes, she has nice attachments, all these different things, right? She has all this cool stuff on, and you're slumming it, in lower budget stuff with a lower budget guy, or you maybe don't have an exploiter or a trafficker yet, or you're in between. You see this girl come in and she says, "Come on," and then boom, you're in it, and it's a wrap. Next thing you know, you're in a car, you're on your way to LA, you're on your way to Vegas, you're on your way to the Bay Area, and you're in it, and it's done. And then it's cyclical. It just keeps transferring over because then everyone in this world is constantly chasing the next best thing. All three of these pillars, right?
So they're like influencers.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely they are, right? And it's a show, it's a game. They all drive these fancy cars. They wear the fancy clothes, the jewelry, all this stuff. And it's just a big show to keep
attract
reeling you in. And we see it. We have found one of the amazing things about investigating these things is we've been able to find other traffickers through victims from a previous case. We've let the victims from one case have led us right to their new trafficker, and we're able to just rinse it and recycle it and go again and go right up on the next one, and it's just like dominoes.
Keeps going.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's extremely challenging. The massage parlor world is it is sex trafficking.
The identity, that thing. It's just so many spider webs.
Yeah, it goes on, and they are with the massage parlor. It's the average person, the driving down Main Street, USA, sees a business and they're like, oh, cool, mom and pop shop. No, they unfortunately they look at it just like your business or any of these other businesses. They're like, oh, just a cool mom and pop shop just popped up. Cool business in Oakdale, right? Or business in our town. That's awesome. What they don't realize is that right inside those doors, then there's a lobby, and then there's another security screen door, and then there's another door, and then there's
The drapes.
yeah, and then there's living quarters, and there's girls being hidden, and girls being moved at night, and all this crazy stuff, and it's happening right there on their main street. And until you go into one of these places, you have no idea that's even going on.
You don't. You really don't, man. You don't even know that they're there. It's funny because I've driven by them so many times here in Oakland, and I had no idea that they were even there until we had this.
It's the bubble.
It's the bubble.
Yeah.
It's a good bubble to be in, man.
Yeah.
I like being in this bubble.
Yeah.
It's a great
You feel
bubble.
good.
Once you poke your head out of the bubble, you want to
go back in.
Well, you want to go back in, but you also dude, how can we stop this? And it's very frustrating. And hey, you guys are on the clock. You're doing it for a living and everything else. It's frustrating for you. It's also frustrating for somebody that does see it, because it's like the churches here. They have pastors that are dealing with these marital couples and stuff that are going through this stuff. The wife catches the husband doing some dumb shit, and she's like, what are you hanging out there for? What's this all about? And blah, blah, blah. He comes to and comes clean, and the pastor tries to do something about it. And this is somebody that his job is basically to, preach the word, to his congregation and everything. He's not trying to go out there and stop crime and everything else. So he gets involved with LE, he gets involved with phone calls and everything else. And eventually he's like, I got to go back to preach the word, man, because I can't keep doing this stuff. it's got to be very frustrating. It was frustrating for me on council because on council, the payment, if anybody's curious on that, if you're wanting to go for an Oakdale City Council, you get a $370 check per month. I think it's $158.19 twice a month. So it's
That seems worth it.
a lot of coin right there.
Yeah.
And you probably I would do anywhere from 15 to 25 hours a week with that. And I work right now for the county about, 5 to 10 hours, sometimes on a good day, 15 hours a week. And I would blow that away working for the county doing that. So it's not a lot of compensation. You get exhausted trying to stop that. So for you and LE, doing that, do you think that Camtech slows you down?
I cannot personally think of a time where we don't know what we don't know. I cannot think of a time where I have firsthand knowledge where they've slowed us down. But I can tell you they have not done anything to ever help me in my investigations. I don't know if you ever had any. They're not doing anything to help.
My viewpoint on that is I feel that by them even being in the position they are for the money, and they're not going to go anywhere because you've got salaries of this. The CEO's making over $700K. Right. What are all of the assistants making and the other people? There's money down the line, right? So you get this huge amount of income that you don't want to stop. And they say, well, we have to believe in this because we are preventing this. Well, you don't want to prevent this. If you prevented this, we wouldn't have a need for you. You know what I mean? So my feeling of them getting in the way of law enforcement is, hey, let's not report some of these items because we are now going to take, which is the whole basis behind Camtech, by the way, is let's not report these to LE. Let's just find these people and we will manage this our own way in-house with this nonprofit organization doing fines and fees, and we've got legislation to back us doing it now. We've got the protection. We get these cities to willingly give us up. Now LE doesn't even know, and you have to go find out on your own by complaints coming in direct.
Right.
So that's where I think it really slows things down.
Yeah, like I said, they're definitely not helping the process at all with these parlors. At least in our cases. I've never seen them come to us and say, hey, we have this problem parlor. You guys need to look at it. I would also like to know, what are they doing? There's multiple ways we've strategized this through multiple different cases and failures and successes that we've had in different ways that we've investigated these. And I think directed enforcement, going in, confirming it, step one is confirming that it actually is in fact a house of prostitution where commercialized sex acts are occurring. Mm-hmm. Number one, right? That has to happen. We can assume there's a lot of
take notes,
key factors, right? But so first and foremost, we have to confirm that, and then we have to go in there and we have to identify everyone that's involved in it and start to climb our way kind of up the pyramid and cut it off, right? We have to close the parlor down. We have to effect arrest. We have to get these girls out of these parlors, get them over to victim advocates, and hopefully they can help them get out of this life. And then we have to attack it from the city side of, the code enforcement, right? There was a really successful case or circumstance out of, I think it was Ventura County. Casey and I were in a class on, and these detectives presented how they did this. And after they had done all that, they came in and they said, you can no longer have neon lights outlining your windows. You can no longer have coverings over your windows so the general public walking by on the street cannot see what's going on inside your business. You can no longer lock internal doors inside of your business, right? They created all this multi, super long checklist and say you can't do these things anymore. And basically they just put their thumb on them, and they continuously applied pressure until these massage parlors said, you know what? It's not worth it for us to operate in this city, right? And then it's not worth it to us to operate in this county. And then it's not worth it. And then they, unfortunately, or fortunately for that county, they pushed them out.
What county was that, did you say?
In Ventura County.
Okay,
I believe the city that started it was San Gabriel. Don't quote me, but I believe it was San Gabriel.
So we need to take example from Ventura County on what they're doing, and we need to do that. So that go ahead.
Does the city or the county not want to regulate these business permits? Will it be more for anyone in this type of business?
Yeah, it's interesting. So they're able to kind of, and so it's one of the jobs as a supervisor of the unit that I'm in now, and a new task of mine that I learned. Somehow someone's decided, at least in our county, that I have buy-in to sign off on their business license. which is I found kind of interesting. I'm like, why is that a me job? But now here the issue comes. Until I have evidence that you are in fact doing this, you're doing illicit acts, right, inside your business, who am I to deny you the right to practice business? Who am I to deny you the ability to do that? So now it's so multifaceted and there's so many layers. And I think what happens is just there's too many hands involved in it. And now people are able to slide through the cracks and they're able to continue, and they change the name, right? And all of a sudden AA massage or now turns into
AB massage.
Yeah, good feet spa or whatever, right? And it's just, and what comes with that business application that gets slid across the table is a check. So I'm not saying that that's the reason for it, but it is coincidental that when money's involved, I mean, you start to do the math on, again, going
Doesn't add up.
Yeah, well, it adds up for the guys that are doing business. I can tell you that the parlor that I investigated in 23, rough math, based off of the hours of operation, the amount of girls they had, and what the average sex act cost, they were making $1.3 million a year.
Suck.
At that one location, and those same people owned massage parlors all up and down the state.
That's a big pimp.
So,
That's big pimping.
And it's extremely difficult. It's a multi-headed monster that it's so difficult to track down. And you, like I said, you chop off one head and
Counting tip.
and two more grow. So, yeah.
We have a pretty decent popular nightlife here in Stanislaus. Are you guys seeing any day rape scenarios? It's not popular.
Like dumping the stuff in the drinks and roofied.
Yeah, probably weekly.
Really?
Weekly, yeah. Most all of our cases, at least that occur in the county, and I can't speak for Modesto PD or Turlock PD, but most of our cases that come from the county, I would say I review on average at least 6 to 10 a month that stem from I was at this bar, I was at this club, I was drinking with my friends, this guy gave us a ride home, right? And then next thing you know, now
woke up in his bed or
correct, or I the last thing I remember was this. Next thing I know, I wake up and I'm in a stranger's bed or whatever the case may be. That's just for us. I can't imagine the city
ones.
Because of it, not only does it occur in their jurisdiction, but obviously there's the dense population.
Oh, there's not that many in the county either.
Correct.
So there's a shitload in the cities. It's got to be a ton.
Yeah. And what we see too, like you talk about the nightlife, again, going back to the commercialized sex trafficking, nightlife attracts that. They say, oh, this is an area where there's after hours, there's drinking, there's overall seediness going on. If I'm a trafficker, that's where I'm going to take my sex workers.
Push them through.
A supply and demand issue, right? I'm going to say, oh, you go down here and you hang out and you advertise and you post online and we're going to get up for in a hotel room, for the weekend. And
so the traffickers are they? I mean, actually having them work the streets like the actual prostitutes that we deal with on 9th Street.
Yes, you will see. Not in our area. We are very fortunate.
It's kind of easy to run away if they wanted to get the fuck out, right? I mean,
yeah, it would in theory, yes.
Yes,
except the emotional control
yeah.
that the guys have on.
The control that they have, it's multifaceted. It's financial. Sometimes it's family. You'd be amazed what these guys will hold over these victims to keep them in what we say is in pocket, to keep them doing what they're doing. And it could be anything from holding their ID to actually holding their credit cards to them not having their phone to saying you can't see your child until you come back in with $2,000.
Because I knew there was different ones. I mean, remember they had ones that would end in
There's different
motels where they were higher class that would travel the country. They would be going to college.
Right.
And then
they're on the circuit.
I can't remember what the motel was called, but you would drive in and each one would open up the windows in different kind of lingeries, and they weren't your normal Ninth Street prostitutes.
Right.
They were the higher
By
end.
that like Latino club. Or
It's driftwood in.
That's right. Yeah. Budget.
So those that still exists in our county. We just had a case not too long ago take us to a less than favorable city for your average, upstanding citizen to go to. And we were down in this area, the geographical location where sex work occurs. It's called a blade or a stroll. I think most commonly
Blade track stroll.
Yeah, blade track stroll. Blade is the one that we hear the most. But so we were on this blade. We're there doing a commercialized sex trafficking investigation, and our trafficker that we are investigating takes us there, and there's on a Monday night at 3 o'clock in the morning, there's 40 girls
easy.
blocking traffic And the only
traffic.
Oh, walking right in the middle of the street.
Wearing very little clothing, high heels.
Less than lingerie.
And these are the ones that are being trafficked, not the I'm
So
doing this because I want
to
to
be
do it.
to be in those areas. You have to be repped by a pimp.
So a pimp.
You have to have someone representing you. If you go there and you're not repped by a pimp, you're considered renegading, which means they can take you out on site because you're not paying the piper in theory.
Wow.
But those same girls and those same traffickers that are there,
So shit's changed a lot then.
it has. The game is continuously evolving. But those same guys that are there with those girls in these areas are coming right through our areas. They're stopping off at all our hotels on the 99 corridor. They're posting ads. They're going to all these places, and then they're continuing on, and they're in this big continuous loop throughout the West Coast, and some even we've tracked cases even to the East Coast, all the way catching flights to New York and Florida and all these other places. So it is a never-ending cycle.
That's crazy.
And the massage parlors are doing the same thing. I go down to
Transfers them around.
I go
all
down.
once.
And they have third party drivers. They have this entire application on their phones. It's like a one stop shop, and I can go hire you to go down to insert whatever city or right at the borderline, and there's going to be 6 girls there waiting for you, and I'm paying you just to get them from point A to point B back to my parlor.
Take them from this massage place.
Sure,
to that
or pick them
massage
up,
place.
here, right,
That's
for this
crazy,
person.
dude.
And that's your only job. You have no idea the cargo in theory that you're carrying. Sure. Then you're going here to pick up X amount. And you're going to drop off X amount. And when you get here,
Transporter.
you're going to take X amount from here to a new location.
Yep.
Oh, it's all about making that dollar.
That's crazy.
Yeah, how do you make people in that industry feel bad about the way that they're making their money? You just don't. So to keep on going, and you just got to force to stop. Yeah. What are the biggest threats, man, to citizens right now as far as the subject of human trafficking goes? Would you say it's online? Is it the internet?
I'd say most of our stuff comes from online.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way for me to put it. It's not that person anymore you got to worry about at the mall.
Well, it's easy accessible.
Your huge challenge in LE is getting around, privacy acts and stuff like that to try, that it's happening, but now you have to try and navigate past,
Get a warrant.
the citizens' rights, and like you said, the schools, are putting up blockades, and
I think for me, the biggest, what we are seeing, it is the exploitation of and the sexualization of our children. That's it. That's where it starts, right? It starts there, right? What you are seeing as acceptable or, becoming commonplace in culture now for kids that are in lower grade elementary level, right, would not have been acceptable at the high school level when I was going to high school, and even so on and so forth. Kids walking around in revealing clothing, being allowed to do things, being allowed to be online, right? So it goes back to the exploitation and the sexualization of our children that then just breeds us, and it just keeps going and going and going, and it's a runaway train.
what can citizens do in communities to reach out? How can they work with LE to help help you guys do your job?
The easiest way for me is if you see something, say it. We have Crime Stoppers. It's available. You can call in. You can call an anonymous tip if you don't want to have your name mentioned. We have Crime Stoppers, and then we have the Polaris Project, which it's like a offset of the human trafficking hotline, and they get tips. The way it works, if you send Polaris a tip, we might see it in a month if we're lucky. Yeah. If you call Crime Stoppers, we'll see it within a week. If you call directly to law enforcement, or patrol deputy will come out and actually handle something.
So just to say this, if anybody, watches this or shares this, and I hope people do, if you call Crime Stoppers and you don't get an immediate response, do not get discouraged. Continue on it, because it might take a week for them to get. They got a lot on their plate. So please don't get discouraged, and please stick with it. And if there is something that if there's a date and a time, write it down and put it away. So when you do get contact with LE, you know the exact date, the exact time, and write in your mind what the incident is so you don't forget.
Squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yeah.
For us. Yeah. It's just constant. Yeah.
Anthony.
So some situations are obviously super obvious, but how can you dictate between a victim and criminal from the person who's actually doing the act?
It's challenging. That's actually a really good question. It's
through investigation.
Yeah, it's through the investigation. Obviously,
heard too, by the way, you don't have a microphone, so is your question heard? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I think for us, like Casey said, it's through investigation. Now, don't get me wrong. There's certain things in this. This is a kind of a very broad stroke at this whole subculture. And once you become immersed in it and you investigate these, it takes all of about maybe 1 or 2 cases to go, yep, that guy's the trafficker. Yep, that's the bottom. That's the new girl. That's the one they're trying to pander. Right? It starts to become a lot more clear. It's
like learning a language.
Yeah, exactly. You learn it. And we become very immersed in this subculture, and that's the only way for us to truly investigate it properly, I think, is to be very much embedded in it and to pose as these different people involved in it to understand the language, to understand the talk, the walk. And once you get that, it becomes a little bit more easier. We're able to, and like I'm assuming you're referring to like again, going back to the 3 pillars, the John, the buyer, right? They're pretty obvious. I'd love to give a good demonstration of it, but it's basically just any single male driving around loitering in these areas. The trafficker has a very confident swagger about them. Like I said, they do not hide it. They make it very obvious who they are and what they are. That's their brand. That's their advertisement. They'll do it with tattoos. They'll do it with fancy cars, fancy clothing, jewelry, and all those things. And then unfortunately, the workers, you can just see it in them. When they've become so immersed in that culture and they're so victimized by this just continuously, it's very sad. Casey and I interacted with a young girl multiple times. She was 14 when we found her.
Yeah.
We rescued her.
You can lose count.
Lost count. I would say at least 6 times. To the point she would see us, even in our, plain clothes, undercover stuff, she would see us, she'd just be like, oh yeah, there's so-and-so, right? And ultimately she lost her life to a fentanyl overdose because of what she was exposed to at an extremely young age.
How old was she when she lost her life?
She passed away at 16.
God damn.
She passed away at 16, and that one was that was
hard.
That was a difficult one, right? Because Casey and I had again countless hours into her situation and her case. And yeah, it's a loss, a completely avoidable loss of a life.
Well, it's like the money behind it. How is anybody, no matter how much it is, they look at this, it's enslavement.
Yeah.
And then they're creating this, so you have this suffering and then death, and then like, oh yeah, it's $1.
Yeah, it is, and that's the problem. Is that particular girl was replaceable by a long line of other future victims. So to those people that were trafficking her, exploiting her, right? Whether it be her parents that initially started it, and then ultimately, because they're also addicted. Yeah, they're in the life. They're addicted to the drug. They need the money. So their children become tangible items that they can sell off to support their own habits. And that's exactly what happened in this girl's case. And
that's sad.
It's so tragic. It's even difficult to sit here and talk about now, but that system, like I said, it just continues to evolve and rotate, and it's same story, new name, maybe a new hotel, maybe a new location, but it's the same cycle.
So with what you guys are doing, we talk about God's work. The grants that you're on that are funding this type of activity for LE to go out there and stop this kind of thing and take it head on. Are we getting enough of these grants, and how are we getting these grants, and how can we get more of them?
Yeah.
We had one and it just expired. So our sheriff picked up he pretty much said he's going to pick up the bill for what we're doing. And that's what he's been doing, is paying for us to go forward and keep working.
Is there any way, I don't know where these grants actually come from, if they're federal, if they're state level, if they come from the county?
Alanese.
Maybe, but how do people get involved in order to create more of these? Because I know it's like kind of the power of the people, and a lot of these grants come from, excises and different types of taxations, and they have the measures in these cities and all that kind of thing. So
I know Alan East was pushing through some assembly bills.
Well, he just did one about something about God, what was that? We just talked about it too.
I worked with him on AB 528.
That was the one where it can't be brought up over and over again with the videos.
Correct. So we pushed for that one, and we got through the Senate, and we got through the Senate Assembly, and then the State Assembly. We got through both those, and it's brickwalled right now. But yeah.
Who's brickwalling it? Is there a name of a senator or an assembly person that we can or a party?
That I don't know. Juan said, when I spoke to Juan, he said it's in hiatus right now. Someone did throw the block up on it.
Who would want to block that?
I mean, dude, probably somebody who has a voting base from the other side, because that money is much larger than the money. It's just kind of like, you remember when you used to do security for the fairs or something, and the Hells Angels would show up. Well, they were more funded back then than the law enforcement was. They would have their tactical command unit. We would have ours, and now it's the same thing. It's like now it's cartels and sex traffickers and human traffickers and all that. It's money is what it comes down to, and that is what is control.
Well,
that's why I'm saying
that's a whole different.
Yeah.
You get so many.
I mean, how could you be in an elected position and want to go to that spot?
Well, the last show that we were on, we were talking about like the gun bill, which.
The gun bill, the
or
Prop
whatever,
50, the
but
771. I mean,
there's nonprofit organizations that are raising money on a continuous basis to support that kind of thing, and they're winning. And on this, we need a nonprofit organization, not Camtech, okay, because they're supporting this kind of tragedy or whatever. We need nonprofit organizations to get involved. And if there's anybody out there that watches this show, and I work with a lot of them, and I donate different firearms so they can get their funds going and everything else, please. These guys need some grants. These guys need some more money. We need nonprofit organizations that are going to support stopping human trafficking and slavery of our children. And that's
boys.
So it is worth mentioning, man. It's awesome to hear you guys say that, but it is worth mentioning. There are some good ones out there, right? And I can mention a couple. The biggest one I think that Casey and I both had some amazing success with is a group called Without Permission.
Say it again?
Without Permission.
Okay.
And they're based in Modesto.
They're based in Modesto. They are good. They are actively working to try to become involved in this, and they are involved in it, and they're trying to get better, and they're constantly bringing on new advocates, and they're in the space, and they're doing a good job.
And they're nonprofit. They're an organization that's trying to raise money to go with your fight.
And they provide us victim advocacy. They will send out countless times now. We've called them out in the middle of the night. They provide care packages for these girls. They do all the intervention that they can at their level to try to get these girls out of their life.
Bought them plane tickets, bought them bus tickets, hotel room for the night, anything they can do to get them out of that situation long enough to get them to what I call a cooling off period.
Yeah.
You got to get them out long enough so they can rest, and then we can talk to them. Yeah. And they give them that opportunity, and then they will try to move them to a safer place so they don't go back to where we found them at.
Yeah. No, they are doing really good work, and I think it's definitely worth mentioning. As much as we beat up on a couple other ones, well deserved, not denying that, well deserved, but there are some good ones out there. I know we've worked closely with the Haven as well. They've had growing pains and struggles. They are trying. They are really actively trying. They have some good people in places there now that they're trying to become more involved, and they're trying to get out there and provide resources for these victims. That's their name of their game, right? They're victim resource centered. And that's what we need, because then that allows us, not that we don't want to deal with the victims, but that frees us up to go after the trafficker.
Yeah.
Right. That's our job.
So everybody that's showing up to our dinners, that's doing all this cool stuff for this town, you heard it, without permission. And I've written them down because I'm going to reach out to them.
Yeah, we probably figure out a way to get a fundraiser for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's a money game, and we, unfortunately, we're not up here. We don't make any more money plugging them. Please know that. We have no benefit to that. We get paid by the county, and we're fortunate to work for a sheriff that supports us, and for a community that supports us to do what we do. So we're very lucky. There's a lot of other agencies that would love to do what we do, but they just, whether it be budget restraints or staffing or just politics, they can't. So we're fortunate. Our sheriff has been really good to us. He pulled Casey out of one of our contract cities and said, "This is amazing work that you're doing out here. It needs to come to the main office." And then that's when Casey and I became partners back in 2022.
Yes.
And we started working together, and then we got involved in this grant. We added another detective. We added a crime analyst. And it's grown to now this heat task force that we have now. So we're very fortunate, right? We are very, very fortunate. It just takes time. It takes money. For law enforcement, it takes staffing. It's a challenge. You can come up with all the list of reasons why it can't work much easier than you can come up with the reasons why it can.
And the problem, it's a lot of our work it's back end loaded. So we can ID these people, but now we have hours of going through evidence. in order to show this is why we did what we did. I mean, it's there. We can see it. Now we just have to put it on paper so someone can read it and understand it.
Now, I know the sheriff's office has a task force.
Yeah.
Does Modesto have one, or?
No.
And what about the part of getting,
They have,
with Skidoo? There's Skidoo.
Yeah.
You have several agencies in Skidoo. What about making a task force for the region?
So like San Joaquin has what they call assault. I don't quote me on what it stands for. It's similar to heat. We work very well with San Joaquin County's team. Their sergeant and myself, we kind of had our growing pains together, going up trying to learn human trafficking, and then making the connection with Justin as our sergeant now. They just clicked, and we're moving forward very, very well with them. We're attached to Homeland Security's version of this. She's embedded with us now, or she's just retired, so now we're waiting for another one.
So Homeland Security is with the.
Yeah, they're within our time. They have a special agent to assault, and they also have a special agent with us in heat. And so we obviously border each other, and we work very well together. To go back to like the Modesto question, man, they're fighting staffing, right? And there's needs. There's
I guess it would be good to see. I mean, maybe if Modesto gave one to the SO or series, like again, Skidoo.
Yeah.
Well,
Or Git. Remember when Git
There's
was,
power in numbers, man. So money makes power, and numbers makes power too. So
and
the
that
more
would
the
bring
merrier.
in more money.
And some of these agencies, they want it in, they just can't put the body there yet.
Yeah.
It's the want's there. The want is there, and they'll come out and they'll help us if we have something that leads into the city of Turlock. We can call 4 people and they will come and help us right then and there.
Right.
And it's just a matter of can they donate that body for X amount of time. That's
Right.
Yeah, we have great partnerships with every agency in our county as well. Like I said, even though they can't dedicate a person to us, man, they're
willing to help.
They'll call, right? They're like, hey, I got this going on. What do we need to do? Or can you come take this case? And we're obviously always more than willing. So we have good partnersharps. It's just the staffing. I think that's the biggest. Law enforcement in general, whether it be a gang investigation team, even our greater narcotic investigation team, the human trafficking stuff, the traffic issue, right? There's all these different issues, all these different places, right? We need more SROs. We need more community resource officers. We need more, detectives. We need more in homicide. We need more in human.
You always
everywhere.
need more. Yeah.
And that's
So you find yourself doing mutual aid though with other
By the way,
agencies?
anybody that's listening to this about law enforcement and more, the reason they need more is because the criminals keep increasing.
because there's more of them.
So there's more of
Yeah.
them. So if the community can get together and they can help the law enforcement to decrease this criminal activity, well, then we can stabilize somehow.
Yeah.
But that needs to happen. I think the community really does need to reach out and come together and help. And there's a lot to say about community acceptance. What do we accept? What do we even know is there? Are we accepting it because we just don't know? If you know, refuse to accept that kind of thing, and drive that kind of stuff out of your community. Don't accept it. Don't allow it.
I think the biggest thing you had asked earlier, and we got spun off on a couple different topics. I think the biggest thing that our community can do as a whole is, like Casey said, if you see something, say something, but just be present, right? Be present in your kids' lives. Be present in the community that you invest into. What you invest in, you should be getting in return. So if you care, right? We used to the community would raise a kid, right? The whole block would watch the kids on the bikes and watch.
It takes a village.
Yes,
That goes
absolutely.
back to
So
that statement.
keep it very simple and just invest, man. Invest into your community, invest into your children and your children's friends and their sports teams and all those things. And when you do that, you won't even realize it, but you're becoming more vigilant and you're becoming more
That
present.
would be nice.
Yeah, and
that's a lot of bygone times. Too.
It's
That totality is just kind of.
I know
It's kind of gone.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
There's a lot of neighbors that don't know each other now.
yeah.
There really is. Yeah. We got a really good street. We got an old school street. Most of our neighbors have been there for a long time. We do. But yeah, it's true. There's a lot of neighbors that just don't know each other and they don't communicate with each other.
And that's a
Things have
newer
changed.
thing.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
I agree.
Different times.
Is there any other topics that you guys want to hit on?
Anything you want? No.
How many more episodes do you guys want? We go.
I
we haven't even
I
talked
would
about
definitely want to have
safety,
you back.
talk-
Absolutely.
We
We
can
haven't
have a
even-
part 2.
Yeah, we haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, we just kind of focused this one on commercialized sex trafficking. We haven't even scratched the surface of, the greater child physical and sexual abuse that occurs in this county and preventative measures we can do for that. We haven't even started to talk about the sex offenders.
We can have them back.
We're up to almost 500 sex offenders.
Yeah, you can talk about NetMec all day long.
Yeah, Casey deals with NetMec and our high tech Valley task force with that. With again more into the online safety. I mean, there's a ton of stuff. We're very fortunate. Like I said, I know I just said it. We're very fortunate to work for the office we work for and to have the team we have. We're a multifaceted team that does from anything from domestic violence investigations all the way to the commercialized sex trafficking, everything that falls within the classification of a special victim. We do, as far as we investigate and do measures to prevent. So, we'd love to come back and you pick a topic and we'll bring an expert.
I'll
to talk
pick
about
some
it.
topics too, guys. But tell me about the stuff that you want to discuss too, and we'll definitely do it again. I had a great
some
time doing this,
priority.
man. I know it's
Yeah.
a gloomy subject to talk about, but it's necessary. We got to talk about this kind of stuff, man.
public
And I
needs
do
to
want to
know
say
it.
again, we're so thankful that you guys are doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
You keep on doing it, man. I mean, this is the community needs this kind of stuff. You're real life heroes, man.
Thank
You
you.
know what I mean?
Yeah, that means
I
a
like to watch the Wolverine and Hulk and everything, but you guys are the real life heroes.
So
You're the
I'll
real
even
life heroes.
I'll do this, Fred. I'll throw it back. I mean, for your audience, for anyone that's watching, man, drop a comment, call into the shop, and tell us what you guys want to hear about. And
They can leave comments and we can
Yeah,
let you know what
100%.
topic
That
on
would-
that subject what they like to learn.
that would be even. I mean, we could sit here and talk about all the things that we think is important, but I think if you guys were to bring us topics or you want to know more about one specific issue, I know we kind of turned on the fire hose today a little bit with all of our stuff, but
Well, there's just so much to
it's
do.
going to spark interest.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. And that's the whole purpose of us coming out and doing these kinds of things is to create that interest and to, again, this. If you're watching this and you're enjoying this and if you feel like this is informational and you want to be more involved in it, get involved and we'll find a place for you.
And we need the subscribers to watch this and tell others to watch it because it's important.
Yeah. Use the power of social media, man. The algorithm. Get it out there.
All right, guys. It's been a great show. We really appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you so much. Freedom Files, episode 15. We're going to do it again. We're going to do it again soon. Like you said, like, share, comment. Tell us what you want to know about. And there's more to come soon, so we will see you soon.
Yeah. Peace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boom.